So by now, everyone has learned the truth about Rooster Teeth and why RTX 2024 got canceled. The company's flat broke. But what do you expect when you put your best content behind a paywall instead of just letting it go for free on your main site? I- Instead of letting it go up for free on other sites, then force people to watch it on the main site again behind a paywall. Have abusive policies in the back. And of course, you adhere to woke Marxist, socialist, leftist, communist BS rhetoric. The old phrase, go woke, get broke, or get woke, go broke, excuse me, reigns true with this company. I mean, heck, what's even more depressing is that two of its properties, specifically Red versus Blue and Camp, they had to give distribution rights to those series, to Film Rise, just to try to make a buck. For those who don't know what Film Rise is, I'll pull it up. Film Rise is a New York City-based film, television studio, and streaming network, which has become one of the largest independent providers of content to ad-supporting in streaming platforms, or AVODs. I always thought it was a British company, but it looks like it's a New York one. And also, and three of those, and actually I was wrong. It wasn't two titles that Rooster Teeth gave over to them. It was three. As of May 2022, Film Rights owns the streaming rights to Red vs. Blue, Camp, and Nomad of Nowhere. Grouping episodes from each series into traditional half-hour formats and seasons for streaming. I bet you didn't know that. I mean, I knew about it with at least with Camp and Red versus Blue. And how do I know that? If you have a Roku TV or a Fire Stick and you upload the Tubi application, for those who don't know, that's a free streaming app. You'll find a section dedicated to Film Rise. And under it, you'll find RVB and Camp. You know what they say, karma's a bitch. And for Rooster Teeth, this is one of the ultimate forms of karma. Now, as for other anime quote unquote content that they own, if I remember correctly, Film Rise also holds the rights to Monster Rancher, Sonic X, most of the Yu Gi Oh! Dubs, and a couple of the Kenichi the Mighty's Disciple, Cyber 6, and a couple of the Lupin the Third parts. as well as to some old Disney and Nickelodeon content, and from the '90s shows and early 2000s shows like Roly Poly Animorphs, Franklin, Bear in the Big Blue House, the animated iteration of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, Madeline, Rupert, Braceface, from its time on ABC/Fox Family. Oh, they also have the Beyblade dubs, or most of the ones we do know of. I forgot about that one. And the majority of and almost every OG Bakugan dub. But here's my point. No, Kobin-chan, they did not have Howl's Moving Castle in their registry. I checked. Most of the film content they have is live action, from what I remember. And from what I looked up. But regardless, yeah, Rooster Teeth is dead to rights, and they have no one to blame but themselves for getting too big for their britches and eventually going corporate. Getting themselves involved with a deep state media cabal, choosing to get themselves involved in various sexual deviancy, quick fixes, and cover ups, choosing to get political and flaunt their viewpoints over those who speak out against said political viewpoints. And that sort of thing. And of course, the pedophilia cover ups. Rooster Teeth brought that on themselves when they brought in people like Chris Sabat, Jesse Grelly, formerly FKA Josh Grelly, Chris Rager, and various others who are notorious players. You may throw Vic Mignogna at me all you want, but Vic has never been like that in any of the 6 times I've ever. I actually met the guy in person. As for other VAs I've met on multiple occasions, Spike Spencer 3 times, John Young Bosch, Caitlin Glass twice each, Tiffany Grant twice, Kyle Hebert once, Erica Lindenbeck once, Kara Buckland once, Cynthia Kranz once, Wendy Powell once, Derek Stephen Prince once, Kristen McGuire once, though she's as roped into this as anyone. Though not on to the levels of someone like a Chris Sabat or a Monica Rial, neither of which I've met, and thank God if I probably never wish to. But let's just say I'd be seething at my core and willing to punch Chris in the face and just mouth and rip Monica a new verbal asshole if I ever crossed either of them. Same thing with Jamie Markey. Oh yeah, the Epstein client list comes out in the new year. But the question is, Evie, how much of that is going to get covered up? Think about that, Evie. How much of the major clientele on that thing will be covered up? And besides, voice actors are the low totem of the pecking order or in the acting industry in most cases. But again, it's reap what you sow. And I don't mean to say this either to any of the Ruby Reactor Brigade here on YouTube, whether it's Phoenix and Reviewing Brigade, whether it's Mechason, Phoenix Knight, Freelancer Amber, Murder of Birds, that Kaido Dan. For the most part, as much as I don't talk to those guys, I'm more or less amicable. I'm pretty amicable with them, even if Arnold does find me to be a bit of a pest. But that said, where he kicked me out of his Discord server, mostly because of my stance. But that said, I hardly ever bring up my stance with those guys. But now they find themselves on the wrong end of things. The thing that got them to many of them to prominence here on YouTube, the milk has been bled out of the cash cow. The cow has been is about to get sent to the slaughterhouse, so to speak. And even if Crunchyroll does bother or to pay the funds to hemorrhage and produce Ruby volumes 10 through 12, is anyone going to buy it? You going to bother watching it? Especially if it's behind a fucking paywall? Short answer is no. It's not even Rooster Teeth's own paywall would have to be put behind. It'd be behind Crunchyroll's paywall. Hello, Jordone. And as for AI replacing manga translators, I don't have an issue with that. Especially with how many translators these days of manga are woke political activists, more in it for themselves as opposed to authenticity. Take for example, Black Cat. I've had this particular volume since 2019. Every page is written the way it was in the original translated text. No political diatribe, no woke doctrine. Nothing. Perhaps, Jordan, but we'll have to wait and see. Or this, which I got this past year's Collecticon Charlotte. Written as described in the original translation. With this amount of crap basically gone, with these people being put out of jobs, I think we may finally see manga get back on the right track. The manga industry, at least, get back on the right track. I mean, with the comic book industry here in America about to burn itself to the ground because of, again, we have political infiltrators circumventing, subverting, and sabotaging every piece of superhero media because they want to push their fucking diatribe from their deep state superiors. They can go fuck themselves, as far as I'm concerned. As for Rooster Teeth, tick tick, you motherfuckers. You got two choices. One, you can come clean and admit your involvement in all the sex scandals and corruption. Or two, you can continue to sweep it under the rug and let it burn and all your shit burn to the ground. Your choice. Comment, like, and subscribe. Mets228 signing out. Goodbye. Good fucking night. Bang.